Hello, hello, hello. This is HR Legal Issue and Health
Good
coming
morning.
to you live. No, this is not a rerun. We are actually here. And you can call us. You see the phone number streaming at the bottom of the screen. You can call in for any questions or any subject you want to talk about. And as always, and my friends, we used to say this is a part-time Michigan, anti-part-time Michigan show. A lot of people miss hearing that, so I think I'm gonna have to start saying it again because it was kind of catchy, And a lot of people, that's how they knew us. I would see some people and they say, "Anti-Michigan." So, oh yeah, they're talking about the show. So we just want to let you know, and as always, I always like to refresh your memory to always have your what I call reference tools, which is your state and federal constitution, your Detroit City Charter, Robert's Rules of Order, and your human rights pamphlet. And most of you out there, if you're listening, you need to get a copy of your human rights pamphlet and get familiar with it because it's going to be very important in the future. Because as you know, this country, United States, has went all over the world helping other people as far as their human rights is concerned. But yet and still, they just adopted it. It hadn't been over maybe between 5 or 10 years. They just made it official. Before, even though they had documents talking about human rights, they hadn't officially made it was part of the Declaration. But now it is. So it's something that you need to be aware of and you need to understand because your human rights is the most important right that you can have. All the other rights stem from the human rights. It's not the other way around like they want you to think because you was a human being before you even know anything about civil or anything else. So we must understand that. And last week we got kind of, we down in a very hot topic, and people was calling in and everything. So I said this week we're gonna start off with health, because we never did get say anything about health that much, and we always like to mention something about your health. There's two things that you really need. Your health is one thing, and you need to know these laws. You don't have to be no lawyer to understand the process. If you understand the process and the procedure, well then that you ahead of the game right there, because they got us doing everything backwards. A lot of things that we're doing, everything that I seem to encounter now, I find out that we've been lied to. I don't care what you say. When you truly serious about something and you do some research on it, you'll find out that they done changed something or they done did something, but they're not telling you the truth. And that's one reason why we are behind the eight ball, as you can say. Because if you are getting misinformation, well then, how you gonna move forward? You can't move forward. You take 2 steps up and 3 back. Well, see, that's what we're here for, to eliminate that and set the record straight. There's a lot of different things that I've learned, and with some of the stuff I knew about, and then some stuff I didn't. Just coming on here with Gloria, I learned about the health because she looks at it from a different perspective, and she does the research, and plus, she, she just ain't nobody just sitting here. She been in the field for over
Long,
32 years, huh?
a long time.
So
Actually, 45.
okay,
45 years.
so she been inside the business and outside,
45
so
years.
she know it inside and out.
Uh,
And she's a researcher. She does the research on health, period. And she based a lot of hers, which is very unique, is from the scriptures.
yeah,
So
that's true.
that's telling in itself if you really understand the scriptures. So I'm gonna make sure that we're gonna deal with that first. We're gonna talk about see is there anything that she want y'all to know as far as the health is concerned. If she found out anything new, or is anything
I,
over?
excuse me. I'm not sure, but I'm going back with the scriptures. I started researching that because everything I was being taught was after the fact. Disease was there. Nobody know how it got there, what the cause was. Kind of like this corona thing.
Yeah.
They got a patent on it, but nobody knows. So I started by reading scripture, and I ran across this iron. I think I mentioned my father died of this high iron level in his blood.
Yeah.
That's what he died of on his pathology report, which is what caused the death. But on the death certificate, it mentioned liver cancer and emphysema. And so, that's what I thought he died of. About 11 years after his death, I found out that it was iron. And so, iron, well, I could remember reading in the scripture about iron way back, Genesis 4. It's talking about two nations of people. The murderer and the liar. I heard Cain's group, excuse me. And then there was one after Abel, Seth's group. But one of them, they had 100 and some year, whatever those years were at the time, jump before Seth's group started having any children. But it did mention this iron and brass that the descendants of Cain were so skilled in. The one guy, Tubal Cain, was an artificer, instructed artificer in brass and iron. And that kind of, why is that there? It's not there for decoration. Why would the scripture have that in there? And I just started looking up other names for iron, And what I found out, my dad, most of his, other than his medication that was high in iron, he ate this sugar. He loved his coffee with those little packets of sugar, and he would just load it up with this sugar. And I didn't know there was iron sugar. And then I learned the iron sugars, the suffix, it ends in OSE, like glucose, fructose, maltose, levulose, ose. And then I found out there was iron salt. It ends in ATE, citrate, sulfate. Then I was teaching a class up at Flint campus, and I remember one of the students brought in the formula, the infant formula. And so I had them go through the infant formula and circle every word that ended in OSE or ATE, or was another one. The enzymes, there's iron enzyme, there's iron protein. It's just iron. And iron is a metal. I don't care how fine you grind it. It doesn't matter how fine, it's still iron. And it rusts. This is a metal. And moisture, it rusts. Outside of your body or inside of your body. I had to let that settle in me because that was a hard thing for me to grasp. And a lot of the conditions, no one's going to say it's rusted in your body.
No.
So they're just going to say they see little aggregates or little sandy material. that kind of stuff. But more and more, I found out that there's a disease, hemochromatosis. I ran into an article that these laboratories was sending back and forth to each other, and the one said to the other that that the 20th century, the disease of choice was cholesterol.
Yeah.
But in the 21st century,
Choice, but it's
the
one
disease
they
is hemochromatosis. That's mean high iron. Well, just looking at, if you go to the grocery store and look at the ingredients in a lot of the products we buy, it's either enriched or fortified with iron,
Yeah.
iron reduced. There's iron in there somewhere. It might be in there twice. If it mentions a sugar, that's a second one. If it mentions a salt, that's a third one. And so what I'm learning and what I've learned, that disease is mathematics. As you add
Yeah.
all these different things up, different shapes, different sizes, some are like needle-like, some are square, some are six-sided. I'm talking about ultra microscopic now. All these little powders, and once we eat that, and that gets in our blood, and the blood send it around and it's deposited. Then sometimes you got clots,
Yeah.
or sometimes you got a growth, a tumor, or lesion, different words, you know. And I told a lot of people, I kind of stopped telling people because they get upset. Well, my doctor want me to take the iron. I'm on iron, you know, my iron low. In scriptures, nowhere it told you to eat it in the first place.
That's
Never said
right.
eat iron. It said
That's
eat the
right.
herbs. You know, the
That's
fruit
right.
tree bearing fruit. Some of the clean animals, if that's what you want to do. It never said to eat iron. It didn't say eat or take vitamins either. But
Yeah,
we're
right.
so we know so much, so we let people tell us anything, and so the accumulation over the years is showing up in our health. And since we're starting out taking that stuff like a mother carrying that child, she's taking all those vitamins that's passing to the baby. So some of the babies are born with diabetes, other conditions, deformities, because the vitamins are still made out of coal tar. And so some of your major deformities is linked to that. I think I told you once I took care of a baby in the Metro Detroit area. The baby was born without a rectum,
Without a rectum.
and then another was born, that one they were able to perforate, you know, but that other one was born and his little colon stopped, so they had to do a colostomy on that newborn.
On a newborn.
And now we're talking, what, 25, 30 years ago. So there's no telling what's out there now. But we need to be conscious of all the iron, and iron will keep an infection going. It will keep an infection. It feeds it. You know, and I just want to make people aware that look at the ingredients in the products that we're buying that's in our neighborhood, and the extra additives like potassium, you know, and microcrystallins and propylene glycol, that's antifreeze,
Antifreeze,
you
yeah.
know. So all this stuff we're taking on a daily basis. Sometimes it's in our teas, you know, the juices.
Yeah.
But just take a look at that, because if you eliminated some of these harmful chemicals that you're ingesting, you know, your health would have to improve, because you're not eating something that's going to tear it down. That's been my main pet peeve when I see the stuff that our children are eating, colorful, red, blue, green. You know, it'll come out with polka dots soon.
Yes, they make it attractive.
You know, and so where does the color and the dye go? That settles somewhere in your body. All of the cataracts. I saw a bunch of people the other day disturb me. I was coming out of a restaurant. I went and got me some soup, and all the people were blind. And maybe one guy might have been elderly. He might have been 60-ish, but the bulk of them were like in their teens and 20s and 30s, and they all had the cane, the white cane, the little red ball, and who's taking their vision? Everybody going to, you know, getting it checked, though. They're getting it checked, but where's the improvement? You know, you don't just go and you're losing more and more of your sight.
That's right,
It was
yeah.
just some things that it concerned me when I see that. We're so quick to go in there and let somebody do something to us. Don't find out the side effects. You know, is it going to get better or worse? You know, you need to know that going in. Before you go in, you need to know that. 'Cause once you go in, you're on somebody else's turf. But I digress. My point was when I mentioned Cain and that group of people, there's been a group of people from way back. And you were talking about these scriptures that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, rulers of the darkness, spiritual wickedness in high places, government, you know, billionaires, you know. And they're the one that kind of control what you eat, what you drink, what's in it. And these people have been set up there from the time of the scripture. So we don't even recognize it. We think it's normal.
Normal, yeah.
You know, you're supposed to eat that. You're supposed to do that, you know. I can remember once I asked my mom, she was putting some baking powder in, whatever she was cooking. I said, Mom, why are you putting that in there? She said, well, you just put it in there. You always put it in there. But you didn't always put it in there.
Right.
Professor Liebig, a German, came here and was getting the bakers to put stuff in their bread. Wasn't nothing wrong with the bread not rising. Wasn't nothing wrong with unleavened bread. You know, see, the Mideastern people don't fool with it.
As a matter of fact, it's become popular now, what they wrap the tacos in. And they, like you said, they've been eating that for years, and they didn't have a problem.
But when I was in public health and making home visits, I rarely went to their house for something. Rarely. I didn't see them in wheelchairs and, you know, walkers, canes, and didn't see that.
That should tell us something.
So I just want to reiterate that, so for them to think on that before they swallow another pill or go in and let somebody do anything to them. They need to think, what am I allowing them to do to me? And what's going to be the side effects down the road? That was the main thing I wanted to mention, Carl. Thanks.
Yeah, well, that's good, and it needs to be clear, and people need to know. See, you know, you got sugar, but you got good sugar and you got bad sugar. This artificial sugar that they made is the sugar that she's talking about. You know, if you can get the cane sugar,
The sweet cane.
the sweet cane sugar, that's the good sugar. It won't hurt your body. Matter of fact, it's good for your body. But it's hard to get, and you got to know where to get that kind of sugar. Same thing with salt. You know, I find it's kind of striking that the main things that that's in everything are the things that causing us this problem: sugar, salt, and iron.
And they
now,
and they are iron.
yeah, and they are iron. But we don't look at it as being iron. You know, because, well, we don't know. We didn't know.
We didn't know.
Matter of fact, I didn't know until today.
I didn't know either.
I thought salt was salt and sugar was sugar. But what you have just discovered for me is that all these additives are iron-based. And anything that's iron-based cannot be good for the body. So,
and all chemicals.
Well,
all
chemicals.
On that chart, all of them are iron-based. Just want to put that out there.
well, see, people need to know that, because that just tells me how magnificent our bodies are.
Oh, yes.
Because we are destroying it, and now I understand why in certain parts of the world people were living to 150 and walking around. They wasn't bent over, nothing like that. They were walking all spine. I said, how could that be? You know, how could that be that they, you know, so active and walking around so jubilantly at that age?
Yeah.
And then we, you know, before we even get 80 years old, we bent over, and I said, something ain't right. Something is not right. And
especially those tribes over there, they don't have running water.
yeah,
They don't have a flush toilet. How do they wash their hands? What about their germs? You know, germs. Wash your hands, wash your hands. and you see them living a ripe old age
Yeah. So
until certain ones go in there to so-called help them and
Yeah.
modernize them.
Yeah, you know, some help you don't need.
Yeah, and all of a sudden there's an outbreak or something. So who outbreaked it?
So you know that's see you're not gonna get this kind of information anywhere else. So we try to go to the source of the problem, and that's what we try to do here. We just don't talk about say that you know don't eat this or don't eat that bad. We go to the source of the problem. We try to explain to you why you shouldn't or why you should use something. And why should you use something that's detrimental to your health? Sugar, salt, and iron. I mean, they didn't already say that,
Right.
that sugar, salt, and iron, you shouldn't eat too much of it, you know, is bad. But what they're not telling you, there's a good sugar and there's a bad sugar, there's a good salt and a bad salt. They never make that distinction.
Well,
Glory's the only one I heard even make a distinction between the two.
It's about that greenback. It's about
Yeah, you're right. It's
you
about
know,
that
the
money.
disease is at an all-time high, but look at the money being made. Look at the money, and the what is it? The prognosis. Well, next year, 600,000 is going to be diagnosed with XYZ. You know, they're
How
telling
you
it
know?
to your face. How you know? I mean, every disease category.
And pinpoint how many gonna be affected.
Yeah.
It'll be different if you say, well, I think it's gonna be. We don't know how many now. You pinpoint how many is gonna be affected.
Yeah.
So that has to be. That's calculated. That's premeditated, as far as I'm concerned.
And it's mathematical.
No, ain't no doubt about that. It is. Ooh, my phone kind of lit up. Maybe I better take a few of these calls. Hello, caller. You on there?
Good morning. How you doing?
All right.
That's good. I received a text message the other day, and it said that Dee Dee was transitioned on, and I was wondering if that's the same Dee Dee that did your research.
Yes, that's the same Dee Dee that she used to be here on time to time with me and her son. And I think she had a little show herself a while back. Yeah, that's the same Dee Dee. It was Saturday. She made her transition.
I'm sorry to hear that. It's nice to see y'all still holding on, though. You know, a lot of the other shows and went off, you know. And I didn't think it was live, but I got you on the air today, so I want to send in a donation
Well, I
to keep y'all
appreciate it.
rolling, you know, because that's good information, you know. And that's the biggest part of my week is listening to y'all. But sometimes I don't get y'all on a Tuesday, though.
Well,
So y'all be coming on every Tuesday?
we try to come on every Tuesday, but for the last Tuesday we haven't been here. But we will be coming on, you know, every Tuesday. You know, depends on how the donations come in and how our finances is. But we
Okay, where do we send the donations?
you could send it to 160 Victor, and you can address it to HR Legal Issue and Health, and put my name on it, Carl Williams.
Oh, okay, I got you. All right, thank you, Carl.
Thank you, and keep watching.
Okay.
Hello, you on the air? Hello, you on the air? Maybe they just listening, I guess. Hello, you on the air?
Good morning, Brother Carl.
Good morning.
Good morning, Queen.
Good morning.
Excellent subject as usual. Brother Carl, I always go back to our father, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and his book, How to Eat to Live.
Yeah.
And that was a book, understand information that was given him from the mouth of God. And one of the first things that Master Fard Muhammad did when he came into the city of Detroit and visited our homes, he would tell the people to empty their medicine cabinets. And he had taught the sisters that your hospital is your kitchen. And how to eat to live, understand, he prepared us for this day and time. And you're talking about 90 years ago, Brother Carl and Queen.
Yeah, I know.
that he knew that we would be in a time where that they would be using, they will weaponize food and medicine, and it's running rampant, the sickness amongst us. When we just walk up and down the streets and whatnot, and look at our people, we don't look the way we looked 50 years ago.
No.
Even the children don't even look healthy today, Brother Carl, and it's due because they have waged war against us, and our bodies is made up of the 90 elements that makes the earth up. It's 75%, 80% water or whatever. And you imagine we're consuming toxic water, we're breathing toxic air, we're eating toxic food, we're walking on toxic earth. These, like you were saying, Carl, our bodies is made so magnificent because you think about what his body has to go through every day here in America. And like you were talking about people in other countries, they got a tribe that I think they say in the Himalayas.
Yeah.
And the average age of those people is 150 years of age.
Yeah.
Women are still bearing children in their 70s and 80s and whatnot. That's because they ain't in polluted air. They're drinking glacier water. They're growing their crops in good, fresh, clean glacier water. And it's, there's war that's being waged against us every day or whatever. Because like Sister was saying, you live in America where it's a commercialized country and everybody care about a dollar. They don't care about humans or life itself. Everybody is so greedy and materialistic today that they don't care about anything but life or whatever. I mean, about money. And that's the problem, Carl and Queen. And that's why it's so important for us to think about what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which is separation. Not necessarily that we had to leave the country, but we had to put ourselves together in an area that the people there love one another, and that we can begin to work on producing and growing our own food, using material that's not hazard, because just about everything that we have in our home, from the dish detergent to the cleaning detergents and whatnot, all is toxic, and we're breathing it. We're breathing it daily, and that's why we just falling apart because the trillions of cells that our bodies are made of are being damaged daily. We're made of over 1 trillion cells or whatever, and they're being damaged daily. Because, like I said, we won't wake up to realize that they're waging war against us, and that's the bottom line. We gotta recognize that it's all about us, and it ain't gonna change until we change and put everybody in their rightful place or whatever. Brother Queen and Carl, understand, we were here before the earth was here, whatever. They have scientists have proven, understand, that we come from the dust of space, the stars and whatnot. We didn't come with this planet. We came out of space or whatever. We are the mothers and fathers of life itself or whatever. We are the civilized and whatnot. But they look at our condition that we have been rendered into today. Brother, we haven't reached we are nowhere near our potential of who we really are. We are the gods and the queens and whatnot of this universe. That's us. We better wake up and realize it. We're blessed to have a show like yours on like this and to be given information or whatever. We need to be looking at something like this 24 hours, 7 days a week, in all honesty, with the condition that we are in as a people here in America. I appreciate you, and like the previous caller, I'm going to put a small donation in an envelope, and I'm going to drop it off at the radio station this week or whatever for you all. Because we need y'all's voice. We need y'all's show. And, sister, keep educating us on that health, because we need it. We falling apart, sister.
Yeah.
We need it.
Yeah.
Love to both of you all.
Same to you.
Yep. Me too.
And thanks for that information.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. It's refreshing to hear that people appreciate the show, and 'cause we try to do our best. And like I say, you're not going to find the information that we give you and how we give it to you anywhere else, because nobody is really going to the source of the problem. We try to go to the source of the problem, whether we're talking about health, we're talking about community issues, or whatever it is. We try to go to the source of the problem, because that is the only way you can eliminate the cause, is by going to the root of the problem. And once you go to the root of the problem, game over with.
Yeah.
But, they don't want you to know that. They want you to think that, they just want to keep you. This is why the doctors, and they tell you, they don't hide it. They say they treat the symptoms. Now, if I treat the symptom, you ain't gonna never get well. I mean, that's just common sense. They treat the symptoms. So long as I'm treating the symptoms, you'll feel better artificially, but you're not really getting any better. You just prolonging the inevitable, because it's going to happen, because you haven't really got to the root cause of the problem. So that's why we have all these diseases running rampant around here. And every time you turn around, they creating or inventing another one. It ain't by accident. All this has been done by man.
Yes, these are man-made diseases.
Man-made disease. And anything man-made can be solved.
Yeah, especially if you know about it. Whatever is hidden, if you go to
Right.
the root cause, you'll see what's there at the root causing things. And it's a matter of eliminating those. Not eating it, not drinking it, not wearing it. That's food, drugs, and cosmetics. All they got the same stuff they're using in all three. But depending on the audience, the cellulose and all this kind of stuff, these different plastics that's in food is chewable. They give you that kind of, it give your mouth that feel that you're chewing like meat, and there's
Meat,
more
yeah.
plastic, that kind of foolishness. So you got to look at it. Just what is it supposed to look like? What did it look like? Then how does it look today? How did they alter it? They've been doing a lot of altering things.
And they're master
Mm-hmm.
that, the taste buds and how things look. They have become the master of imitating other foods.
Mm-hmm.
And different things, because half the stuff, if you really want to know the truth, and that ain't really food that we eat.
No, it's not. It sure isn't.
That's why I stick with my fruits, and some of them you got to be careful with some of that,
That's right.
and your greens and your your greens and your vegetables. If you stay with that, you be better off.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be better off. Now, I ain't going to say that I'm perfect. I know when I'm doing something that I ain't supposed to do, but I know what to do when I do it. You're supposed to clean yourself out.
Yeah.
They got different things out here that cleanses your body. And see, that's something you never hear people talk about that much. But, because of all the bombarded chemicals and different things that's hitting us, you have to flush your system out
Yeah.
every now and then. I remember years ago, before they come up with all these different additives and different ways to supposedly help us. I remember they used to tell you to just drink a lot of water to flush your kidney out. And that's the way they used to do years ago. I was real small then, I was, a little boy, but I remember that. I remember hearing them say that. And you just would drink water, and your urine would be kind of like a yellowish, and you just keep drinking until it clear up. And then when they clear up, they say that then your kidneys was kind of flush. Well, that still holds true. When you go to the bathroom, you can look down there and you see sometimes it be yellow, sometimes it be clear, sometimes so you have to understand what you're looking at and understand what you're taking in your body because that affects the color of when it is being released.
Yeah.
And if you understand that, and like my bladder is it's kind of weak, but I got some stuff from Schultz, which he used herbs. That's what he used, and I kind of swear by the guy because I read up on him and what he did. He was looking for some land, and he was trying to find some land where they wasn't spraying and had all this toxic, and he found someplace way out in California somewhere, and he just started him a garden, and he built him a little factory out there. And that's what he do. He raises his stuff toxic free, and then he makes his formulas, and all his formulas. He got formula for your kidneys. He got formula for your liver. He got formulas just for your brain. I mean, he got formulas, and that's all he used is the natural herbs from the earth. See, one thing we got to understand, there's the opposite to everything. You got the good and the bad, you got the black, you got the white, you got, there's always an opposite. And see, we need to understand that. Now, just like they say, sugar, we know that sugar is not bad for you, although I don't use sugar, I use honey. I put honey in everything. If I want it sweet, that's my source of sugar. I use honey. I haven't used sugar and I don't know when. I got some brown sugar. I think I done had it so long because I don't have no need for it. I'm using the honey most of the time. I think the other day I used a little bit of brown sugar. I put some in I had some Poston, which is like coffee. And my mother used to give it to us when we were small. She wouldn't let us drink coffee. And matter of fact, they didn't really drink that much coffee. Every now and then. I didn't know what coffee was really for a long time. And we would drink Poston. And I put a little bit in that Poston to give it a little nice taste. And it's just things that you just gotta, little simple things sometimes. Sometimes it's not the most difficult thing. It's the little simple things that we didn't forgot about or just have stopped doing.
Yeah.
Like when I was growing up, we didn't really talk about oil. We never even thought about it. Oil in the body, but parents were doing it because they gave you cod liver oil every day. They gave you cod liver oil, and they had sweet oil to put in your ear. They had castor oil, which, as far as I'm concerned, that get rid of everything.
Yeah.
They were so nasty. And the cold, you take that castor oil, yes, you go into the bathroom, whatever in you, it's coming out.
Yeah.
It's coming out. So, people got away from that, and then they're messing with everything. It make me so mad. Why don't you just leave things alone? Like garlic. Garlic that's another thing that you need to put in your arsenal. Garlic is an anti-viral, antibacterial. It's just like vaccination, but it's a natural one that does the same thing. But the only hang up with garlic is the odor. But guess what? The Italians don't care nothing about that odor.
The Arab people don't either.
Arabs don't care nothing about that
Eastern,
odor.
they don't care.
But black folks, woo, they have a problem. I know I done lost some friends because they didn't tell me that, that, because, after you taking it, I can't smell it. Even though I take it, because what I do now, I mix mine in juices every morning, at least 3 or 4 times a week. Whatever fruit I got, I peel that garlic and throw it in my juicer along with some ginger, and I juice it. Now I can't smell it, but the odor is still on my breath, and a lot of times you're unaware of it. My sister, she said, Carl, when you come outside, you're gonna have garlic on your breath. I'm just gonna tell you get garlic on your breath. And that's what I'm glad she told me that, because sometimes I didn't know it. I wasn't aware of it because I cannot smell it. Especially when I put it in the juices, you can't smell it, but the odor is still there. So that's the only hang up about. But I done found some things to get rid of the odor now. So me and garlic is all right. I got some pure peppermint and spearmint. Either one of those. You can get that and rinse your mouth out with it. Brush your teeth and rinse your mouth out with it, and that'll help it. And you got to, brush your tongue too, because a lot of times you be brushing your teeth and you don't touch your tongue, and you ain't, you smell, you can't smell it right away, but later on it come back, and you be wondering, what's happening? Well, you got to do something to that tongue too. You got to clean the whole mouth, not just the teeth. So, it just little things that we need to be aware of, and if we keep on doing these things, well, we'll be better off. We will be better off. We got a couple of more calls. Hello, you on air?
Hello, this is Bessie. I live near Dearborn, and we have a lot of Arabic people, and they have their fruit markets and things like that.
That's right.
I stopped going to the regular grocery stores to get my fruits because theirs are organic. They don't have all this plastic covering on top of the cucumbers and the tomatoes and the apples and everything. They're fresh. And so it's called the Mediterranean diet. They make their breads fresh in the back of the market. And their meats are a little higher, but they're grown without all these hormones and things like that in it. I'm worth it, so that's what I buy. And I wish that our own people would start markets like that, so that I wouldn't have to spend my money and give it to other entities. If we would do it ourselves, we talk about what we need and what we need to do, but what are we doing to provide it for our own selves? You know what I'm saying? But I also like to mention a couple of more things. When I'm 68 years old, but when I was growing up 50, 60 years ago, there were fruit trees everywhere in Detroit. You could go to your backyard and get a pear, an apple,
That's right.
A peach, or whatever. And where are all the fruit trees? Where are all the flowers? What happened? What is happening to our earth? That we're not even paying any attention to it. We used to walk through the neighborhoods, and there were flowers and tulips. And I talked to my nieces and nephews about daffodils and pussy willows, and they don't even know what that is anymore. All that stuff is gone, and we're just letting it go on by. We're not doing anything about it. There's one more thing I want to mention to you, and that is that we're taking too much medicine internally. There are things that we can do that are topical, and a lot of things are 2,000 years old, as people have been using for thousands and thousands of years. One example is there's a stone called shungite, 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 and it's electromagnetic. It's antibacterial. You can put it in your water and purify it. You can do a lot of things with it, but we're not getting that information out to our people. And this is like 2,000 years old, not just recent. The Oriental people use it. You know, other races, we need to find out what they're doing and incorporate it into our own society. And because in Africa, Egypt, this is where all this stuff is coming from. We used to do that stuff, but when we came to America, we got to do everything the American way. We need to get back to, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but
It's quite all right.
there's one more thing I want to tell you, and I want you to share this with people. I'm not a medic, but I had a sister, two sisters, and they were very ill with diabetes and complications, and they had to take medicine, opioids, and, you know, Vicodin and those morphine and stuff like that. And when they would run out, they would be in pain, and we had to take them to the hospital 2 and 3 times a month. That's $3,000 every time you go. I found out that all I had to do was go to the local CVS and go over to the toothache section and get some toothache medicine. I rub it on her topical, and her pain would go away from her diabetes. She had, I forgot what they call it when you have the pain in your hand and feet and stuff like that. But it would go away, and I'm seeing like $3,000 for the hospital morphine that's killing her internal organs. She's deceased now because of medication, internal medication. But as opposed to $6 for something topical that really works. People don't tell you that because the doctors want you to run to them. Mm-hmm. But it's the same thing that they put on you when you go to the dentist before they stick you with that needle. They put that topical anesthetic on there, and your pain goes away. You don't even feel the needle. Well, if it works on that, why wouldn't you try it on other things on your body? I tried it on my sister, and it worked.
Now, what'd you say the name of that rock was again?
It's the Shungite. Look it up. It's Shungite. Shungite.
Shungite, okay.
And the medication that I get at the CVS is called CVS toothache medicine. I don't know about the other brands, but I know that one works. It's in a tube. It costs about $6. It looks like a miniature toothpaste tube. And you just put the size of a half of a peanut. And if you have arthritis, in about 5 minutes, you'll be doing cartwheels.
That's absolutely good information.
Yeah.
So we need to start sharing. Find it out. Don't just sit back and complain. We need to start doing something to help ourselves and stop counting on other people to fix our problems. And plant some flowers and some trees and some grapes out there. I used to see grapes growing on the vine. I don't see any of that anymore. We need to get back to nature.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for doing it here.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Now, see, she brought up something that I have been saying. You know, I remember when I was growing up, everybody had some kind of fruit tree in their backyard. You didn't have to go to the market to buy no fruit because that's all you had to do was, you know, go down the block.
Yeah.
This person, I know people right next door to us, they was, you know, older people, but they had a pear, they had what did they call them, a mulberry bush, and they had grapes, and they had one other thing they had. But everybody had a garden back then. You know, it was like almost like they were competing, but everybody had a garden. Everybody had may have greens or something in their garden. So you didn't really have to really go, and we didn't got away from that.
That's true. But, you know, they have been doing, I had all that, y'all don't know if you remember, when I had all those apricots.
Yeah, I remember. I ain't
Apricot
forgot
trees,
that. I got a bunch of them.
cherry trees. I had
ate them too.
the black raspberries, the red raspberries. Everywhere I could turn at my house, I could eat something. And that so-called acid rain, I
Yeah.
started watching.
Yeah.
Every time the trees would get in bloom, and then you'd get this rain with the real dark clouds, and it would kill a lot of the branches, and it killed a lot of that young fruit. They also had a rain where they had those, what do they call them, aphids, those little green bugs.
Yeah,
Because I used to
yeah.
watch my trees, and I'm wondering why they're looking smoky after that little rain. And I got out there, and I cut a couple of the leaves off, and I'm looking, I could see all these little green bugs. And I was asking this lady, why they got all this? They spraying it. Why are they spraying it? Why is this in the rain? And she was telling me, well, that's to feed the ladybugs. Wait, the ladybugs, I didn't have ladybugs. But you're going to kill up everything.
Thank you for
to
feed the
feed the bugs. Or that kind of stuff. But I watched mine, and even once they made apricots, and they were out there in the tree, if we had that rain, and it hit those apricots, that next day, half of them, were rotten. They had turned. Yeah. So I know it was a rain because I watched it, And I'm wondering, okay, they don't want you to be independent. They want you to have to buy
That's right.
what they grew, however they forced them to grow. So that ain't an act of God,
No.
Creator. That's people doing that so that there's no competition in what they're selling you. And you made a couple copies of that. It's a mulberry tree leaves you made for me.
Yeah,
and and you could see on the leaf when the water hit it, you could see all those little soot particles, little black
see,
pieces
got it.
on each drop, the raindrops that hit it. So where did that come from? And it eventually killed those trees. I got the one tree, but it doesn't. It can't. Once it started blooming, we get that rain like clockwork, and that tree doesn't produce anything. Now the mulberry tree, it still kind of do something, but not like it was.
See, this is done by design.
By design.
It's no
Pear
accident.
tree, peach tree, plum tree, cherry tree,
You know,
grapevine.
because she mentioned something that I've been thinking about for a long time. What happened to all of the trees? We don't have hardly no trees. And I know growing up, that's all we used to go to yard. Going in people's yard, and some people wanted you to come in there and get them just to get them off the ground. And then you had a few people who didn't want you to come in their yard, but you know how y'all growing up, you sneak in there and get it anywhere if you couldn't get it anywhere else. And shoot, when I go home, we go home, we had a bag full of all kind of fruit and stuff. And most of the time, you come home, they wanted time to eat. You wouldn't be hungry.
Yeah.
Ate all that fruit and stuff running around, and you don't see that no more. You don't even hear the kids even talking about stuff like that. And that was something that was not only enjoying, but it was healthy for us.
Yeah.
And you're not doing that now. If we were doing that, we wouldn't have to worry about the food chain as we do now, because we have our own.
That's right.
And see, that's the thing that we need to understand. That, like I was saying, you have opposite to everything. Well, just like you have the Creator, the things that He put here for you, versus what man put here for you. And you have to make that distinction, which one you want to take. I mean, anytime you hear it, when we talk about the programs, what you hear us talking about, we be talking about what's in the scriptures. And in the scriptures, they're talking about herbs. I've heard honey.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the things that the Creator made for us.
That's right.
All these pills and things. Where in the scriptures do you see anything about a pill? Take a pill. Where do you see that at?
Well, it does say in Jeremiah that
Okay.
you'll use many medicines in vain. Ain't gonna
But
help you.
he didn't say that he made pills for us to take.
No, you just said the medicines, they're not gonna do you any good.
And you're absolutely right.
So
That's
if it's
been
making
proven every day.
If it's making you worse and worse, and now you got this, and oh yeah, you got this other one, and you got this other one, then that accumulative effect is shutting down things.
Lord. Well, we got 2 more calls. I'm trying to get them in before we have to. Hello, you on the air?
Yeah, Brother Carl and Queen. You know, I wanted to piggyback on the previous caller about that shungite. And you know, I'm familiar with shungite. You know, that's a stone that's only found in the dense area of Russia. And the government has actually stopped those from mining that particular stone because, as the sister was said, the benefits that's from this rare stone that's only found in Russia. They don't know where it came from, but it's a very rare jet black stone. And you know, I have them around my home or whatever. They help with like she say, Wi-Fi, those bad frequencies in your home. They also protect you. You can actually put it in your water. It actually purify your water. You know, I have the mats that you lay in your bathtub water to fight against that lead and other chemicals that's in your water or whatever. But shungite is a very powerful stone, and it's out of Russia, and it's spelled Shungite, shungite, but it's out of Russia, and like she said, it's a very stone that you won't be able to get in a little while because, like I said, the Russian government has shut the mine down where they have found this stone. They have shut it down. So it's very difficult to get now. Every now and then you may catch it was they're selling it or whatever, and you have to be careful somebody trying to duplicate it or whatever. But it's a must right now with what we're going through with the 5G and all this that's coming in, because 5G was actually a CIA weapon back in the day.
Yes, it was.
You know, it's a frequency that messes with your DNA or whatever, and it's a known weapon. They use it in crowds over in Europe and different places, and it's very deadly or whatever. 5G. And like, you know, you were saying about the fruit trees, Carl, the only one that has survived those chemicals that they're raining down on the sky is the mulberry tree. If you pay attention, that's the only tree that's steady growing on its own. Like you said, you won't find that and the black walnut tree.
Yeah.
And they're taking them down. They're taking those black walnut trees because of the value of the wood. The wood is real valuable on that black walnut.
Yeah.
You know, that black walnut, they use that to run the parasites out of your body.
Right.
You know, but like I said, we got to keep feeding the people this information. Love you all.
Okay, thank you. Got one more caller here. Caller, you on the air? Caller, you on the air? Caller, you on the air?
Good morning to the both of you.
Yes.
Good morning.
Okay, the thing I wanted to talk about, thank the lady for calling in, because I wanted to ask Gloria. I have a pinched nerve with a lot of pain in my back, but she mentioned that CVS toothache medicine, and I refuse to take pain medicine because my body rejects it. And so I know she doesn't have time right now to maybe go into it, but I would like a topical for my back. And then I wanted to mention one other thing. I had to get a new cardiologist, which is Arabic now. And all the things you all have been saying about medicine, he took me off a lot of medicine, like the statins and stuff. He said, because the statins have gone into your liver and it's destroying your liver. So he took me off a lot of medicine. But it's a lot I could talk about, but you all be on the money every time you come on. But I just wanted to know if she knew anything like a topical for back pain, because I can't take anything internally for my back. And thank you guys.
Thank you.
One quick thing I'd like to say to the caller, you need to reduce the dairy, the cheese, the milk, Anything dairy, you know, a lot of the cheeses and that they put they got like a mold in it to help flavor it and that kind of stuff. A lot of the milk, streptococcus.
Yeah.
So you want to kind of eliminate dairy, cottage cheese, ice cream, those things that would cause something to swell to pinch a nerve in the first place. Again, the sugar deposits, because wherever they deposit in their iron sugar, they're going to be rusting. So that you cut out as well. And I like, you know, for pain, I like the turpentine.
Yeah.
Castor oil,
Yeah,
a couple
well.
drops of that turpentine and massage in there.
Yeah. Just put a little castor oil
Because there's something in our diet that's causing that. You just don't have pain. Pain don't just start. So usually that you've ate something or drank something and it's accumulated in that area. But I'll look up some of that other that you mentioned.
Well, as they say, this is the fastest hour in show business. We still got a few more callers, but our time run out, and we will continue talking about this subject and other things that I meant to talk about, but I didn't get around to it. But we'll, God willing, we'll be here next week. And just tune in and, you know, call in, and because we got a lot of viable information that you just, you know, you just can't find it anywhere. So until next week, God willing, see ya.
You be blessed and be safe.